Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. I'm in the studio. You know what to do. Get involved in the chat and the comments because we're all going to Wembley, aren't we? Manchester United through to the Carabao Cup final, which is the most important cup final. We all know that. After beating Nottingham Forest 5-0 on aggregate, a lot of the news this morning centres around the quotes, the reaction, all that stuff from last night's 2-0 win against Nottingham Forest, 5-0 overall, of course. So we'll be getting into all that. We'll also be talking about some decisions Erik Ten Hag has to make. Erik Ten Hag, who's just doing a fantastic job, isn't it? So make sure you're getting involved in all of that. Loads of people in the chat already. Martin P, Aaron Shearer, Santa Notch, Dale Gibson, Glenn Sangster, Heaven Soul. Hello, Glenn F. Morning to all you people, you lovely people. Ten Hag was speaking about Jadon Sancho. I want to talk about Jadon Sancho briefly because he got a fantastic reception last night, Jadon Sancho, and rightly so. I like to see that because, you know, me and Joe were talking about this the other day on the podcast, and, you know, for whatever reason, whether it seems like it might have been something psychological, that's an injury. That's him not being fit enough to play. But you wouldn't sort of be dismissive of someone if they had a physical injury, if they, you know, broke the metatarsal or whatever. So it's only right that the fans sort of get behind someone who may be struggling a little bit. Erik Ten Hag sort of gave him time or helped him get into a place where he was ready to play. He was warming up last night just in front of where I stand in the TRA. He was getting a great reception. His name was getting chanted. And then when he came on, the whole crowd got behind him and it was good to see. And at the end, he did a little bit of a lap and was getting applause there as well, and rightly so. Ten Hag been speaking about that, and he said on Sancho, most important players enjoy football, which gives energy. That gives them the motivation to act and perform. I think it was great. The reception from the fans to him, and also that will give him even more a push to continue in the way he's now acting. He's just started again. The restart, he's back at Carrington for 2 weeks. We see that smile, and hopefully he can keep that and contribute to the team. He has really high standards, great capabilities to contribute to our team, especially now the team is improving. We're playing more in the opposition half. His capabilities coming more in front and coming more. He can have more touches on the ball. That is what his game gives the best performances, the best platform to perform. Good words there from the manager, rightly so, giving the acknowledgement to the fans as well. And, you know, I don't expect a chuffy badge for getting behind a player, but it's good to see. And Jadon Sancho, nice little cameo. You know, some good touches, went past a couple of players. And you know, it wasn't like earth-shattering, but you could see, you know, what he's about and the fact that he looks like he's sort of getting back to his best. And that's what I see, because Jadon Sancho could be a very, very useful footballer for Manchester United. Not just this season, but obviously beyond. He's only young. And I think Erik Ten Hag, like he's handled everything, has handled it in the right way. I'm struggling to find anything where I can look at Erik Ten Hag and go, don't like the way he handled that. Whether it's the Ronaldo situation, whether it's Rashford, whether it's Sancho, he just seems to get it right and get the best out of players and knows what is best for his players. It's often said that a football manager isn't just a manager, he's almost like a psychologist as well. And I think Erik Ten Hag, he's bang on with the psychology side of things. He's bang on with the tactics. He's bang on with the discipline. He's just bang on in it. Let us know what you think about Chris Strowther says, Jay, did you just say chuffy? Too early for that. A chuffy badge? I don't think that was rude. Brian Casey, morning, Jay. Let us know what you thought about Jadon Sancho, what you think about him being back involved. I mean, yeah, some comments here about what, you know, Ronaldo coming back after what he went through. And I get that, but if Sancho wasn't right, he wasn't right, and now he is, and now he's back, and I'm glad to see him, you know, back in the team. I mean, a couple of people responding to that. Vicky in the chat as well. It's great to see the support for Sancho and smiling. Does it give you new signing vibe? It does for me. Yeah, it does feel. I used to hate when managers used to say that about like Scholes. Fergie used to go, it's going to like a new signing. But it actually does a little bit. I feel like Sancho coming back in, because we've been doing well without him as well, it's like a bonus, isn't it? Because I always feel like when you're struggling when a player's absent, it's like when they come back in, there's so much expectation. It's like, oh my God, he's got to come back and da-da-da. Now he's coming into a team that is doing well, and I think it is a little bit of a bonus. And we need a bit of rotation because we're overly reliant a little bit on Marcus Rashford and even Anthony and Garnacho. It's good to be able to rotate. Brian Casey says, delighted to see Sancho back. Love that they backed him. I completely agree with that sentiment as well. Now, do you know how you can tell if you're doing well at Manchester United as a manager? Do you know how you can tell if you're doing well in life, right? A good way of measuring it is have you made Roy Keane smile? Have you made him happy? If you've made Roy Keane laugh and smile, you're doing something right. Trust me. And Roy Keane was very happy after the game last night. He's praising Erik ten Hag. He says he's brought back the feel-good factor. He was even having a little bit of a laugh with him, asking him if he can get complimentary tickets to the cup final. So he doesn't want to pay for him. He wants complimentary tickets. And it's good because, all right, being a little bit jovial about it, but there is a feel-good factor there. I agree with what Roy Keane's saying. It does feel like positive vibes. And we have been here before. We've been in a situation where under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we've got to cup semi-finals and we even got to a final. And, we had decent runs in the league. We got to third, we got to second. But there'd been a spell under Ole where things hadn't gone well. In his first season, once he stopped being caretaker and was permanent manager, we had that horrendous run, if you remember, where we think we ended up finishing sixth. There'd been issues there where you looked at it and you thought, okay, is this going to work out? Obviously, as well, there was the part of his CV wasn't as great as Erik ten Hag's is, so he's always getting questioned there. This time around feels a little bit different to me. You've got a manager who's up and coming and he's got a glowing reputation. You've got signings who almost to a man of old done well. You've got football that you can, enjoy watching, and you've got results that are positive. So it does feel like the feel-good factor is back. And Roy Keane was mentioning there about players like, I think he called them energy sappers, like Ronaldo. She's sort of changed his tune on him a bit, hasn't he? Pogba, sometimes they can take a little bit of the energy out of the squad or whatever, or attention away from things we should be focusing on. So I get all that, and I just feel that, as United fans, last 6 years since we last won the trophy, there's been some highs, we've had some good results, we've had some good cut runs and that, but we've had a lot to sort of be a bit down about. You've seen the likes of City and Liverpool lifting trophies. It's not an easy pill to swallow. You've seen some demoralising results as well. So when things are going well, I think you should be able to enjoy it, and I'm revelling in this, to be honest with you. Suman Nayak says Martial is playing better as a super sub. Did well when he came on, Martial. Got his goal, obviously. Linked up with a couple of others. You can see he was a little bit rusty, I'm not going to lie. You can see a couple of the passes didn't quite come off. But it's good to have him available because you can't just rely on Wout Weghorst, who I thought did okay yesterday. He was very unlucky not to get a penalty. At the time, I thought it was a penalty, but where I was stood, I was sort of behind Weghorst, sort of looking at it. I wasn't sure. But when I saw the replay, the kid's kicked him, hasn't he? He's proper kicked him. There's no reason why that wasn't given, especially if VAR looked at it. It was a bit of a weird one. The players are obviously happy with what's going on. Luke Shaw has been chatting about it. He's had some comments to say, obviously, but he's also issued a bit of a stern warning. I've seen this in the Evening News. I've quoted him. There you can say Luke Shaw shares stern Manchester United warning after reaching the Carabao Cup final. It says that left-back Luke Shaw has warned that Manchester United have not achieved anything after booking a Carabao Cup final date with Newcastle United at Wembley at the end of this month. I kind of like that. I like the fact that he's not going, well, we've made it now, we've reached Carabao Cup final. He says, of course it is extremely pleasing, but I don't think there is any point in going to a final if you don't win it. It's a massive opportunity for us. It is where we want to be, playing in big games and big finals and getting his club back to where it should be. Like I said, that is challenging for trophies, and we have got a big one against Newcastle. They're an extremely good team, and it's going to be a very tough game. I like Luke Shaw in his interviews. He comes across really well, and he's a player that I'm not going to pretend. Last season, I was very disappointed in his performances. He came back from the Euros. You think he'd be on a high. He scored in the Euro final. And like a lot of his teammates, to be fair, it wasn't just him. He had a bit of an awful season. But this season, he's been, for me, as good as any left-back I've seen. He has. He's just been fantastic. Both defensively and going forward. After that initial couple of games where it wasn't great, he's back to his best, and like I said, he's as good as any left back I've seen this season anyway. So hopefully he can play a big part in ending this trophy drought that we've had, because 6 years for a club like Manchester United is far, far too long. I've also got Bruno Fernandes' reaction as well. He spoke about it. He says that, you can see it on your screen, for us and Newcastle, it'll be a big, big match, and the chance to win a trophy, the first of the season, is a big final with two of the teams who are playing really good football in the Premier League, two teams that are in good form in the league and doing really well. Newcastle have probably been a surprise from last season for what they are doing this season. They've been amazing, so I think it will be a pretty good final and enjoyable to watch. I hope more for us than for them. Yep, I agree completely with that sentiment. On the thumbnail, you may have noticed, we were talking about the decisions the decision that Erik ten Hag has got to make when it comes to Marcel Sabitzer. Now, there's two there. The obvious one is when's he going to play him? Now, I've got a game against Crystal Palace this weekend. Is he going to start in that? Is he going to be a sub in that? That would seem like the right time to bring him in because it's at home. He'll have been in Manchester for a few days. If you're not playing him, then what you're waiting for? He should have at least you'd expect him to have had at least one training session with his team. So maybe there he could come in, or you might look at it and go, actually, he's not fully ingratiated fully got used to the team yet. Maybe you wait a little while and bring him in a bit further on. We'll wait and see. As always, I trust Erik ten Hag. The good thing for Sabitzer is he won't have to wait long if he does want to play because the games are coming thick and fast. You've got Palace on Saturday, you've got Leeds on Wednesday after, you've got Leeds again on the Sunday after that, then you've got Barca on the Thursday after that. I mean, it's just non-stop in here at a minute. Then you've got Leicester at home on the 19th, Barca at home on the 23rd, and then you've got the Carabao Cup final on the, is it the 26th? So the Brentford game will be moved. Newcastle have got, I think they've got, is it 3 fewer games than us during that period, or 4 fewer games? I can't remember the exact figure, which is a bit of a worry because I do think it matters, the amount of games that you've got off or the amount of days you've got off. I thought it mattered against Arsenal when we had that extra game put in. Dale Gibson says, Jay, what's your take on the horrendous officiating that United have had to endure this season? It's getting to the point now, if you don't laugh, you'll cry. I agree with this. Right, the thing is, when United fans mention officiating, people go, oh, you've spoiled, you're moaning. What about that goal that Bruno Fernandes scored against Man City in a derby? The goal that was perfectly legitimate, right? That was analysed more than any goal I think's ever been analysed since probably Jeff Hurst in 1966. And the conclusion was the referee got it right. So I don't know what you moaned about there for starters, but all the pundits and all the ABU media mobilised to have a dig at United and go, oh, United have got away with one. And I don't know if it's got in anyone's head. But we've seen some ridiculously bad decisions, especially at Old Trafford recently. Andy Carroll, and I'll keep going on about this, I don't care. He takes Christian Eriksen out for the 3 months of the season with an horrendous challenge that doesn't even get a yellow. And people go, well, he got a yellow, he got sent off anyway. Oh, no, that's okay then, if he got sent off anyway for 2 later challenges. He was running around the pitch just trying to crock someone, and he got away with it. Then last night you see it, and at the time I thought it was a penalty, but again, I was where I was stood. I thought, okay, maybe I've got that one wrong. I watched the replay. He gets kicked on the leg, clearly, Wout Weghorst. I don't understand how that isn't a penalty. It just is. And it's just weird that that's been looked at and they've gone, no, it's not. And also, while I'm on it, I hate this fact that referees now just seem to be deferring all the time to VAR and seems to be letting things go. And I presume that's what they're doing. Because a referee should see something as clear as a day is long and know that is a foul and make a decision on it. But I feel like a lot of referees now are just thinking, well, VAR will handle that. And that's not what VAR was brought in for. VAR was meant to be a backup for the referee, not make the decision on his behalf. It was meant to call out or sort of be there as a reference if there was a clear and obvious error, for example, or offsides where you can analyse it a bit more in depth. But it doesn't seem to be like that at all. It just seems to be refs going, leave that, let VAR sort it out. And then VAR going, well, the refs not give it, so we won't. I mean, I'd be honest with you, I'm falling out of love with VAR. I hate when I'm at the games because you don't know what's going on. We had it last night where it flashed up potential red card. I didn't know what was going on there. I hadn't seen anything that made me think it could be a red card, and then obviously it was nothing. I don't like it when I'm watching it at home or here. It stops the game, it stops the flow. I think it's causing more controversy than it's sort of eradicating. I don't think we need it. I don't think football needed more arguing, more controversy, more debate. I think we're fine on that. And I think you can sort of live with it if a referee calls a decision or misses something. You go, all right, he's human, he's got it wrong. But when you've got VAR spending 10 minutes looking at things and then still getting it wrong, I don't know. Get involved in the comments and let me know what you think. Do you think I'm being a little bit sort of, don't know, what's the word? Old school, should we say, with my attitude towards VAR, or do you think that this should be we should keep it? And actually, I'm just moaning when I've got nought to moan about. Jamie Chambers says, "G'day from Sydney, Australia, Jay. I'm all in on the 10 Commandments and whatever he says. I'm down with 21. He's coming. 21. He's coming. He's gone early, hasn't he?" Abhinav Verma says, "I think VAR was fine in the World Cup, but I don't like VAR in the EPL." Ocean Man says, "True, Jay." Sorry, Glenn F says someone's trolling G Boobies tries it. Listen, we're all about debate. If someone's being offensive, then they'll get kicked out. If they're just causing debate, I've not seen what he said, but we'll have a look at that. Also on Sabitzer, the other decision he's got to make is about the medal. Is Sabitzer going to get a medal? Because apparently, I think you get, is it 26 medals? No, 30 medals I think you get. And I think there's usually 26 in your squad. So there's a story in Evening News about how United could end up giving Sabitzer a medal, or, you know, he could be eligible for one. And there's also, right, a bit of intrigue going on with Martin Dubravka. Because I've seen conflicting reports here. Don't forget to hit the like button as well. I should have mentioned that earlier. Hit the like button. There's almost 1,000 people watching, and there is 1,000 people watching. We've barely got 100 likes. Come on, people. Let's get to at least 250 likes. Because apparently Dubravka, from what I read something the other day, and I think it's a Newcastle Chronicle or whatever it's called, saying that Dubravka could get a medal for United because he's played 2 games, if we win, of course. Because he played a couple of games, I think, in the Carabao Cup. And then there was the report that I think the Evening News was saying, well, he could still feature for Newcastle, but isn't he cup tied? I don't know. Does anyone understand what's going on with Martin Dubravka and his medal? It'd be pretty funny, wouldn't it, if he got a medal with United? If they went, United win, and they go, Martin, come over here. Yeah, have one of them. Show that to your teammates in the dressing room. They'll love that. Let them have a hold of it. I think that'll go down well. So, yeah, anyone who can clear that up, let us know. Natuli says Sabitzer must start all the games. Martin Dubravka could face medal dilemma. Where's this from, Heath? This is from Newcastle Chronicle. So this says, here's an intriguing thought as we approach Newcastle's Wembley defining match. Will keeper Martin Dubravka claim a League Cup medal with Manchester United? So he could get a medal with United. But then it says, a much more shuddering prospect is this. Will he get a winner's medal with his current teammates only to receive a runners-up gong after an inevitable Newcastle v Man United final showdown? So, yeah, we'll get to the bottom of that. It'll be pretty funny. Harry Yule says, Johnson kicked at Garnacho. Garnacho said something to Johnson. Johnson turned around and pushed him. Thanks for that. Yeah, I think that's my reference to the red card incident. I saw Garnacho was getting a bit tasty on it with Alejandro Garnacho last night. I think he got took off. I think he was going to get took off anyway, but it came at the right time. It was probably for his own good because he was winding them up. He was getting involved. There was a couple of incidents where I thought he's going to end up getting himself in trouble here. Dale Gibson says, VAR could have been brilliant, but the way we've used it and the rules we've made for it are dreadful. Like, they can't interfere if a goal kick is given instead of a corner, etc. Make that make sense. Ad says, great talk. Jay. Akash Gogri says, does Ronnie get a medal too? Then I don't know. Harry Yule says, Garnacho has fire. I loved it. It got the crowd going. Do you know what I love as well in a minute? We were talking about this in the stadium last night. We've got a lot of players who are up for it, aren't we, when it kicks off. Have you noticed? We're not a soft team. I hate it when teams are soft. One of my biggest bugbears was when Newcastle, I've got Newcastle on the brain, Liverpool came to Old Trafford last season in the game that shall not be mentioned. And Curtis Jones, I think Ronnie kicked the ball at Curtis Jones or kicked Curtis Jones, and all the Newcastle players piled round him. And there was only Bruno and Fred who got involved. And all the United players all the Liverpool players, I keep saying Newcastle, all the Liverpool players piled round him. And none of the United players wanted to know other than Bruno and Fred. And I was like, what's going on, man? Come on. You can't be having the scouts just coming in and kicking off with our players and we're just letting it happen. Now, though, if there is anything where there's a bit of a fight, everyone's over there. People get involved. We've got a team who aren't soft touch. And you need a bit of that. I'm not saying you should go around punching people or whatever, but you want a team that can stick up for themselves and look after the younger players especially, and even the younger players can look after themselves. And I think when you've got the likes of Bruno, you've got Garnacho, you've got Weghorst, you've got Casemiro's not soft. There's players there who are strong players who are willing to get involved when it does kick off, and more power to them. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for everyone who got involved in the chat. Always good to see the usual faces and many more as well. We're going to be back later on. I think you're going to have Joe Smith and Stephen Howson doing a bit of a tactical analysis. What's the analysis on, Joe? Rashford. Who? Rashford. Never heard of him, mate. Them two are going to be talking about Marcus Rashford, probably why he's the best player in the history of association football. So that'll be about later on. Make sure you're checking that out as well. If you've not done, make sure you're hitting like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Go and check out some of the reaction from last night. You've got Andy Tate, you've got Joe, you've got Stephen Howson, all talking about the fact Manchester United are through to the Carabao Cup final. We'll have to wait and see whether Martin Dubravka gets a medal or Sabitzer gets a medal, but we'll be there anyway. So thanks for watching.